भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ तत्सत्। So we had completed the verse number 15 and the sutra number 15, and that was about Bijavadhanam. After Bijavadhanam, in the Siva Sutra Vartika, there is another sutra. However, that sutra is not included in the commentary by Kshemaraja, Siva Sutra Vimarshini. And if you look at the other edited books, many of the people have not included that sutra, even though it is there in the Vartika. Vartika is one of the commentaries in poetic form. It's not included here, so we actually ignored it. And Bijavadhanam, very briefly, there are two specific ways, and this particular 15th sutra has clear linkage with the 16th sutra, where what happens when you do that deeper meditation is explained. So, sa yonihi sarva devanam saktiram chapyanekadha agni somatmika yonis tata sarvam pravartate. There is a kind of hint here which will be used, So he's saying that parasakti, vija, from where everything emerges, there's a hint which is given here in the verse number 15. Now, meditating on what? On Paramashiva, he's saying no. His creative energy, his supreme creative power, that's what you meditate on. Why so? Because from here everything emerges. And in order to unify your consciousness and return to that original state which we are, we need to concentrate on that aspect of Lord Shiva. Because if you don't do it, if we only think about the Paramashiva, because this is Anavopaya, we would find it very hard to ignore the reality around us. We will not have any understanding as to how it has emerged, and we will not know how to overcome it, transcend it, and return to that pure state of Surupa Jnana, or self-awareness. Therefore, he is mentioning that, Ityadi Tatra Parasakyatmani Vije Avadhanam Bhuya Bhuya Chitta Niveshanam Karyam. So Bhuya here is again and again, repeatedly, one has to return to that particular original consciousness from where everything emerges. Why am I repeating this? Why am I mentioning it? Because when we go to the next sutra, yesterday we mentioned there is a word called the lake, the ocean. And then he relishes in that ocean of nectar. And that particular thing will become easy if we make sense of this particular sutra. Vijay Parasakyatmani Vishwakarane. That is what the Mula Vritti which is given. That Parasakyatmani Vishwakarane. That is the main commentary. You see? So Siva Sutra Vritti. So this is given by Sri Mahad Acharya Bhattakalata, who is the greatest of the original commentators. So Bhattakalata writes, Vijay Parasakyatmani Vishwakarane Avadhanam. Bhuya bhuyaha chitta niveshanam kartavyam iti sheshaha. So he's saying this because, in fact, Kshemaraja also kind of borrows ideas, because he's the first guy to have written that vritti. Vritti is making, just expanding that sutra and giving the original meaning of it. Others have added their ideas to expand on this vritti given by Bhattakalata. So that is the key thing which is mentioned. Now, there are different ways in which this meditation will be made sense of depending on your parampara as to how do you go there. And one key thing that I had discussed yesterday, it will come to, the last previous class, it will come today again, is that much of the meditational practice or the asana word which would be used in the next sutra is we have done it earlier, has very little to do with the physical postures. It's all about elevating our consciousness. One asana, be in that asana. In Hatha Yoga will mean maybe Padmasana or Shavasana or whatever particular asana. There's so many postures. But here, asana would be establishing oneself in a state of pure consciousness, in a certain state of subjective self reaffirmation. If I can put it in this, I'm taking a lot of liberty with this parampara because there is no clear, denotative or connotative correspondence established. So you can take a little liberty, but that's dangerous. But I'm just trying to take a little liberty saying yourself affirming yourself through meditation. We are going to state of different states. We are identifying with them based on our wisdom at that particular moment. We are evolving our consciousness. We are elevating to higher states, and therefore he's saying that the vija, the source of this whole universe, you have to do meditation again and again. And he would mention why this is so important. We have already discussed yesterday that any relaxation or any deferment or any respect for any mode of distraction, ethical or aesthetic, can destroy us because it will pull us away from the original goal of attaining complete full absorption or self-awareness, which is liberating, because that is our Swarupa, getting that Shiva Bhava. So anything else which might distract, but please don't take it literally, it doesn't mean you will not do puja, you will not go to the temple, you will not have aesthetic sense. I'm not saying in that sense. In that high level of meditation, and again, we have to focus our attention and return to, in a very one-pointed manner, the ultimate creative energy of Lord Shiva. That is how he mentions. And then we'll go to the next sutra, which sort of emanates out of one aspect of that bija avadhanam, that is the vija sabda, that is what is mentioning here. Asanastaha sukham hrade nimajjati. Hrade, not hridaye. Hrade. What is that rada? That is, it is the cause of all causes, the ocean of all causes. Like, for example, in Vaishnava literature, they refer to where is the Kshir Sagar, where Lord Vishnu is lying, is relaxing, is Karana Sagara, ocean of all causes. He's lying on this, he'll create. Similarly, he's saying asanastaha sukham. Sukham is anayasena, without any effort. Asanastaha sukham hrade nimajjati. Now, there are two competing interpretations of this verse. One, which is by Varadaraja, this will say, look here, you have to understand this, make sense of it in the light of the previous sutra. So it is not about celebration of your terminal point of reaching the journey, as I was mentioning in the previous class. In order to keep us motivated, many times the Sastrakaras or these great philosophers will make a few statements. It will sort of excite you, encourage you. It will give us a kind of not misleading, but a very inspiring statement about this is the last point to reach. And once you reach there, they'll show you, no, there is little more left that you have to do. But in Bhagavan also says you will get liberation in different chapters. But everything becomes clear only in the 18th chapter. There's a lot of sadhana. But he tells that, okay, this is the end of the journey. That is one way to look at it, which would be more in line with the interpretation of Kshemaraja. We will look at that, what he makes sense of it. Asanastaha sukham hrade nimajjati. Nimajjati means what? He gets immersed. And who is that asanastaha? So he's explaining the Vrittikara, Bhattakalata. Asyate nityam ekatmyane sthiyate. He stays there. How? Nityam, nirantara, for a long time. Ekatmyena, he has no distraction. All the time he's focused on that Shiva Tattva. Sthiyate asmin, where? That asana. That is the state of his meditation. Asmin iti. And where? Param Shaktam Valam. Shakta Valam. That is that creative energy of Lord Shiva. He's meditating. Vijam Avadhanam was mentioned in the previous sutra. Yaha Tatra Tishtati, the one who establishes himself there And then there is a bit of description of that guy who has reached there. Look at his words, they're beautiful. Parihrita parapara dhyana dharanadi. So para and apara, you're meditating on all this, right? Something vishishta, something samanya, something sarvatmaka, with some name and form, without name and form. All these are there. Parapara, like Onkara sadhana. Onkara is a symbol. At the same time, it represents Param Brahma. So it's Param Brahma also Apara Brahma. Apara Brahma is Karya Brahma or Hiranyagarbha. There are different interpretations. Apara is something nearer, Para is far. Para is was Sukshmadara, which is more like Parasakti, Aparasakti. Right? Paravidya, Aparavidya. Paravidya is ultimate Atmic Jnana. Aparavidya is everything else below that. All the upasanas and everything that we learn about. So he's saying Parihrita Parapara Dhyana Dharanadi, Dhyana and Dhara, all these methods of meditation. Okay, so Shayama in the Yoga Sutras, the last three steps, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, they together is Sanyama. That is the ultimate method that they have discussed, and we were looking at it when we were doing the Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter. Dhyana Dharanadi Sarva Kriya Prayaso, all that, Nityam. Antarmukhataya tadeva paramrishati. So all these prayasas, parihrita prayasa. Parihrita prayasa means you are no more doing any prayasa. There are two interpretations. One is that you abandon all this, or you complete it. Because you have completed it, there is no need to repeat it. In that sense, parihrita parapara dhyana dharanadi sarva kriya prayasha. So this person who has already accomplished or he has completed the course of his meditation, dhyana, dharana, all this. On the sampragyata samadhi, sampragyata samadhi, he has mastered everything. Prayasa, then what is his state? What does he do? Nityam antarmukhataya. Nityam is nirantaram, all the time, because everything is anitya. The sadhaka himself is anitya, as for Vedanta. Nityam here would mean persistently, without any interruption, antarmukhataya. That means he is not looking at anything in the external reality, external world. Abrita Sakyuhu, as it mentions in the Kathopanishad. Abrita Sakyuhu is essentially the sense organs have been completely withdrawn, neither externally nor internally. Abrita Sakyuhu, there is a kind of withdrawal of all the senses. Nityam antarmukhataya tadeva paramrishati. So this antarmukhata is being advanced, but that vijam avadhanam, we have already done it. That is what he's trying to say. Sa sukham, the person who has already reached there, who is able to become antarmukhi in that sense, whose senses are completely withdrawn from the outer world and also from the mental subjective reality with which we sometimes indulge through our fantasies and aspirations and desires and fears and anxieties. He is free from this. Sa sukham anayasataya, without any efforts. Then where does he go? What happens to him? Paramrita samudre, para amrita, paramrita samudre, in the ocean of ultimate nectar. So obviously he's not referring to the ocean of blissful taste. No. Is the ocean of milk and sugar? No. Is not at all referring to any material reality, because he used these two adjectives, para and amrita. Amrita word could also kind of tempt us to feel it'll have some taste, because rasa, there'll be some taste. Rasa aswadana you can taste and release. Oh, ocean of nectar, beautiful. Maybe it's butter and ghee and everything, whatever you like, you can imagine. Or maybe ocean of champagne. In some of the Puranas, they mention that there will be an ocean of the best tasting, drink. There are some Puranas where they mention something like that. No. Paramrita samriddhi nimajjati. Now he takes a dip there. He's immersed. He immerses himself there. What does it mean? Dehadi sankocha sanghara brodonina. Dehadi sankocha. Now, our Swarupa has nothing to do with this body, but we are constantly stuck with this body. So I want to have this food. I want to sleep like this. I want to study like this. I want to go and spend some time in that particular, winter resort. Right now, people are thinking about places where they can go in warmer situations. So you want to go maybe to Sri Lanka, Singapore, where it will not be very chilly, because North India is very chilly right now. So you want to go to some warmer climates. Dehadi sankocha sanghara brodonina. So all these are self-imposed imperfections which sort of catches up with our consciousness, and then it starts operating with a very limited identity. The whole game is there. You have a restricted self identity or an unrestricted liberative. What sort of can give us that liberation? That is that expansive cosmic identity. That is what is Shiva Vyapti. Otherwise, at Aptam Vyapti is still a step below that. And we might recoil, relapse, and come back to our limited consciousness. He's saying, Dehadi Sankoja Sanghara Brodhanena Tanamayi Bhavati. So it now goes to that ocean. Here, the ocean would mean the ocean which is the cause of this whole universe, because he's doing Bijavadhanam, and he is going to that supreme energy from where everything sort of appears. Now, he's saying, Bijam Sarvasya Jagataha Chidatma Eva Param Smritam. Bija is what? Bijavadhanam is a commentary of Varadaraja. Avadhanam Tad Vimarshaha. Constantly you are doing vichara of that. It's not closing the eyes and thinking about the energy of Lord Shiva. No, you are doing some vichara. That is what is the beautiful proximity between Advaita Vedanta's method and the Shivadvaita, the Trika Darshana similarity, because it's all vicharatmaka. Avadhanam tadvimarshaha savadhanena chetasa. And you are doing savadhanena with concentration, without any distraction. You are doing this. Sada kala pada prapti mohadi agraha hanitaha. Then all these, whatever temptation, attraction, aspiration, whatever might dissociate you from your original destination, then you're sort of removing everything. Sarva bhava udbhava bhuvaha. And that bija, whatever you see is appearing this whole sansara. Now, in Strika Darshana, you might ask, why are they comparing the original cause of this universe with the idea of ocean? We had done a discussion on this earlier. Some of the commentators say, where do you see the waves emerging? All the waves emerge out of that ocean. The ocean, the moment you mention ocean, you are not talking about waves and storms, water bubbles. No. Ocean is that unlimited expanse of water. Then you have appearance of restricted identities. These are the blocks of creations. Like, for example, in Advaita Vedanta, Sankara again and again mentions Bhagavad Pujapada, that Budbudeva, it's like this bubble of foam on water. This creation is like foam on water. Water has no form. The foam has form. Foam looks white. And then you have these patches at a particular point where there is some waves, colliding with each other. You see a lot of foam emerging, isn't it? So these restricted, however, identifiable, easy to capture, easy to see. These are these construction blocks or creation blocks, blocks of creation. Sarva bhavodbhava bhuvaha pravesho antah chidatmanaha. So he's mentioned that in the earlier, now he's going forward. Katham punaha yogi vritya syad atra praha shankaraha. So how does a person, you mentioned about bijavadhanam, how does that work? Can you explain it a little? Pavamanaha suchishchando madhyamaha prana ashanam. These are very interesting words he's using. Pavamana is something that fire, that purifying fire. And what is that? When you do this Agnishomatmaka, Prana Apana, breathing in and breathing out, Ida Pingala, you can look at it in many ways. Here, when you are talking about ascendance of consciousness, you are always associating that with Udana Vayu. So Ida Pingala, the Susamna is that particular, that highway, that subtle highway through which the consciousness rises and reaches that Sahasrara, the thousand petal lotus, which is very cosmic, which is sunlight, which sort of liberates, breaks open the consciousness to find its Swarupa, no more coiled up. but kind of reaching that ultimate destination. So he's saying Pavamanaha Suchir Chandaha. So each of these words are explained by thoughtful commentators. Now, this particular exercise of meditation, it's like purifying fire. Like certain things are mixed up with gold. Let's look at all processes of metallurgy, whether it is extraction of steel from iron ore or from anything. There'd be some chemical or some method where you will need, if you get into the extractive industries, essentially it's fire which purifies. But there'll be a little difference here and there. So in case of iron ore, steel extraction, it's mostly heat. Whereas in case of aluminum, we studied in the school, they will use electrolytes and all. Certain chemical processes are involved. End of the day, it's essentially purification through the use of the fire principle, pavamana. So this breath has the purifying fire of this breath, this whole kriya that you're doing. And then Shuchihi, and this is radiance by the word Shuchi. It radiates. Why? It removes darkness. It removes darkness. The word darkness is associated with the those thoughts, those manifestations of consciousness, those movements and tendencies of the consciousness. And the Buddhists have a beautiful way to express this. They would always say the existing and inherent conditions and tendencies. That is our enemy. Two words they use: conditions and tendencies. There are a few conditions we inherit, and then associated with the conditions, we have a few tendencies. The mind will go to certain thoughts, certain desires will emerge, certain sanskaras are there. So, conditions and tendencies, they are the factors which decide which way the mind works right now. Therefore, he's saying Shuchihi because that is radiance. And then Chandaha. Chanda is something with Chandi, Chamunda. Chanda is something fearsome. Why is it? Because he's saying it's wrath, the principle of anger or wrath, or whatever. That Chanda word is used here. This will burn down your past sanskaras. So, all these three words, Pavamanaha, Suchis, Chando, all these three have something to do with self purification. Okay. Now, a lot of people might ask, so if somebody is in some bit of a trauma or some intrusive thoughts, some past problems are coming again and again. I have experienced it myself, and I also advise people to do the same. You don't know what to do. You go to any guru and all, he'll simply say, we'll do Nama Japa. And why should we not do Nama Japa? By reconnecting our consciousness again and again and again and again with that divinity, that divine sound, we start burning down these past negative energies. They might come back, but the only way is to constantly do this. And you can say, I mean, a lot of people have started making fun of, like you must have heard those YouTube videos where people are challenging the ISKCON, saying that there's a kind of programming. Of course, the whole civilization is essentially all about programming. Everything is programmed. Our body, our mind, everything is programmed. Now, program is not a problem. What kind of program is a problem? Is the program conducive for our liberation? Discipline is programming. Is it liberating or is it enslaving us? Is it something which completely disempowers us? It's something which empowers us. So what he's trying to say, Shuchis, Chando, Pavamanaha, all these three words have to do with some self-purificatory processes which ensue upon that Bijavadhanam, continuous repeated entry into that particular meditative mode. These purification happens. And he say Madhyamaha Prana Asanam, Madhyamaha Prana, that these two words are used in order to say this, the Udana Vayu. You have the Prana and Apana and the Udana Vayu. So you are stabilizing yourself. And then Yoginam Jnana Purvanam. So Jnana Purvana is clearly. So you have, all the time they will say that in order to meditate also, you have to take the help of your Jnana Shakti, of your awareness, of your wisdom. Jnana Purvanam San Matsya Balat Mana. What is the word Matsya? In the Mahanirvana Tantra, if you look at it in the translation, a lot of people associate Tantra with a lot of very scandalizing practices, right? Panchamakara, the Kaula Yoga, the Bama Marga. Panchamakara is Matsya, and then Mangsha, and Madhya is intoxicating drink. And then you have Mudra, lots of gestures, and a Maithuna, sex. These are the things which I mentioned. But if you look at Mahanirvana Tantra, it clarifies. So here, Matsya is not about fish. Matsya was control over the breath. Because Matsya, because it's like that, the breath is going, coming, and moving, it's ever moving, right? So it has to do with that. And that Maithuna would be unifying that Jivatma with the Paramatma, that connecting that unity of consciousness with the cosmic consciousness. That's what. So in that sense, that Sambhoga is not about copulation. It's about unification of the supreme. So it's not about a biological thing in that sense. These words can be confusing if you limit their interpretation and connotation to one way of looking at it. By looking at dictionaries, that's what a lot of these Sanskritists in the West do. And there are alternative interpretations available because they are away from the Jnana Parampara. But now we have more compassionate, thoughtful, appreciative inquiries which are also taking place. Now, Matsyavalapmana. So, what is that Matsyavalambana? That particular pranavayu, that meditation you're doing. So, here, if you look at Varadaraja, asanastaha sukham hride nimajjati, it is not a celebration of you having already reached the destination. That is what Kshemaraja will say. We'll look at that also. So the person who reaches there, he has no problem. He's celebrating his peaceful status as a person who has accomplished the game of this whole meditation, Bijavadhanam. However, he's saying how he reaches there. In that sense, it's an extension of the sadhana which is mentioned in the previous sutra, according to Varadaraja. Purvam uktam cha tatrastaha. What is that? We have already explained to you. What is that? That hrada, what does it mean? Sukham majjati tad hradehe. Tad hrade sukham anayasena nimajjati. He's able to dissolve himself, immerse himself in that particular ocean. And the ocean is that hrada, hradatvam atra praguktam. What is this oceanness? We have already explained to you. Sarva bhava udbhavatvataha. Sarva bhava, all that we see as existing, they emerge out of these ocean of causes, this oceanic root of everything. All the waves emerge out of the ocean. Similarly, this whole sansara emerges out of what? The Shakti of Lord Shiva. Because Lord Shiva becomes aware of himself, that Vimarsha Shakti, with that he creates everything. That's Swatantrati. And then saying Chidrupa Shacha Bijatvam. That Chidrupa, Paramashiva, and then his Bijatvam, Atah Eva Nirupitam. Why are we discussing about the Shakti of Paramashiva? Because otherwise we will not have a theoretical tool or handle to make sense of this samsara, make sense of this whole creative process in which we are finding ourselves, sometimes entrapped, sometimes smartly navigating. Therefore, he's mentioning. Now, if we, however, look at the Kshemaraja commentary, he would interpret it in a different way. It's a celebration, it's a state of bliss, and how he reaches there and what happens, that is what he's explaining. Evami sati aso yogi vijavadanam. If he successfully does, what happens to that yogi is explained. Asyate nityam ekatmane sthiyate asmaniti asanam. What is that asanam? Asanastaha. So first explain to me what is that asana. He's saying, look, that ekatmya vritti, he's established there. There is no distraction. He's not thinking about X, Y, Z. He's there in that ekatmya bhava. That is what is asana. Param shaktam balam. And that is the power of that Shakta Bala that he has. Yaha Tatra Tishtati, the one who is there, it's all similar, word by word, taken from Bhatta Kalata. Parishta Parapara Dhyana Dharana, the Sarva Kriya Prayasha, same, Bhatta Kalata we have already discussed. Nityam Antaramukhataya Tadeva Paramrsati, that is what is being established. Okay? And then he mentions Saha Sukham anayasataya hrade vishwa prabhava prasara hetu. Now he's adding few words of his own. Sukham anayasataya, without any efforts, without any hard work. Where he's there, nimajjati, in that ocean, what is it? He's explaining it. Vishwa pravaha prasara hetu. Pravaha and prasara. That you know, that purity, nirmalata, and prasara, the udbhava, everything appears. Hetu, swachha uchchalatadi yogini paramrita samadre nimajjati. Swachha uchchalatadi. Both the things he's mentioning. Swachha is completely transparent. This has a correspondence with the word pravaha. Then Uchchalatadi has a correspondence to the word prashara. They are very sophisticated people. Each word they are measuring when they are writing it. Yogini paramrita samadre nimajjati, same as Bhattakalada. Dehadi sankocha sanskara brodanena tanamai bhavati, same as Bhattakalada. Yad uktam, see, Mrityujit Bhattarake is taken from that Netra Tantra, Mrityunjaya Bhattaraka. Now he's saying how to meditate. Nordhvam dhyanam prayujita. So don't meditate above on the Akasa Tattva or anything, or Agyan Chakra or Sahasrara, nothing of that sort. Na adhas. Adhastat na cha madhyataha. Neither you meditate below, like you go to Muladhara Chakra or Swadhisthana or Manipur, nothing of that sort. Not Madhyama, not in the Manipur or the Anahata. There are different ways in which this Madhyama, below, middle, and up, can be interpreted by the experts. Na agrataha prishtataha kinchi na parshvam na ubhayorapi. Agrataha in front, prishtataha meditating on the back, na kinchi na parshvam, parshve, this side, no. You're not meditating on. These are actually perhaps mentioned keeping in view different points of energy which are prescribed in tantric texts and yogic texts for different kinds of meditations. Like, for example, there are certain texts in which there's a mention that on your left shoulder is Parvati and the right shoulder is Lord Shiva. Here is Sadasiva, Shiva Parvati. So each of these, if you get into these very secretive texts, they will mention as to how you're essentially meditating, like on the left side of below your, just around maybe the stomach. They say that there is that enemy, that Rakshas is there who all the time disturbs you. The negative energy is there. So when you do all these nyasas and all, you invoke different divinities in different parts of your body. But he's saying you don't have to do any of these. And then what does he say? Na adhastha na cha madhyamaha na agrataha prishtataha kinchit na parshve no ubhayarpi. Neither this side nor that side. Nantaha sarira sangstam tu, nor at the bottom, and then you're sitting in the body. Na bahyo bhavayat kvachite. Neither meditate on your body or internal nadis or anything, or you meditate on the external thing, like you have a certain point, a lamp, the Trataka people do, or you have a murti, or you have a yantra, you meditate, nothing of that sort. Nakase bandhayat lakshyam, nadho drishtim niveshayet. Neither you fix your eyes in the whole vast sky, nor do you look at the land or look below. Na chakshu milanam kinchit. Neither you close your eyes. So some people, there are two ways, three, four, five different schools of yoga prescribe different methods of meditation. You go to a Buddhist, they'll say never close your eyes properly, totally. Because you close, you may fall asleep. So what do? You just constantly remain aware of yourself. So it should be ardhanimilita, like Lord Shiva. His eyes are not fully closed. He's constantly aware. He's not sleeping. And you can see for yourself that when you're meditating, you close your eyes, your mind starts jumping around. Two ways to fight that is to keep the eyes a little open and then meditating on the breath. Return to the breath. Then all the thoughts get defeated. So he's saying, Nakase bandha lakshay, bandhayet lakshyam, nadho drishtim niveshayet. Your attention neither you fix in the sky nor do you look below. Na chakshu milanam kinchit. Don't close your eyes. Na kinchit drishti bandhanam. Neither you close your eyes, nor you open your eyes and you look at Ma Savitri or Gayatri, or look at the picture of any particular yantra or any bindu or spot or anything. Avalambam, niralambam, salamam, naiva bhavayet. He's refuting all methods of tuning your consciousness with some kind of a prop, material or non material. This is the most interesting thing. Because here we are trying to transcend all forms of dualities. So, whether you focus internally on any particular point, Kundalini chakras, or any points where you invoke divinity within yourself, there is duality, you and your divinity, or divinity you are invoking, any particular chakra. If you focus your eyes outside, maybe in between the nasagra, meditate on the point of the nose, or you look outside the head, agya chakra, anything. Remember, there is duality. There is object-subject duality all the time. So he's refuting all that. He's saying abalambam, niralambam, salambam, naiva bhavayet. All three possibilities. Abalambam, taking help of something. No abalambana, no upaya, no method. Now, actually, you might get thoroughly excited at this point. Is Anavopaya is the beginning. He's talking as if actually it's Sambhavopaya or even Anupaya. Beyond all these three upayas, the ultimate is you have that ultimate thing which is Anupaya in that Shiva consciousness. Is he saying that? No, this is how they are encouraging us. This Tutyartham, I would say. He's saying Avalambam, Niralambam, Salamam, Naiva Bhavayat. Now, no Avalambana, not with any particular savalambam, niralambam. You can meditate on the vacuum or shunyata. There are a lot of people do shunyata meditation on emptiness, what they do in Buddhism. Not even that. Nendriyani nabhutani. Now you can say, okay, I'll meditate like Kathopanishad, you'll go and say that, okay, I'll meditate on these indriyas. They are like the rasana, the manas, compared to a harness. Indriyas are like the horses, they're running around. So I'll meditate on them? No. Okay, then I'll meditate on the objects of that, the Bhuta Vargas. No. You can say they're meditating on the Panchabhutas? No. Because that is also there. You sit in meditation, then you meditate on the Bhuta Vargas, earth and water and fire and air and Akasha. These are methods of meditation. I was telling you earlier, it's a beautiful book, very short one, by Sri Anirvan, Antar Yoga, where it discusses these points. So, is Nendriyani Nabhutani Savda Sparsha Rasadayaha, the Tanmatras. Meditate on them? No. Evam Tyaktva Samadhistaha. So, you remember, you do abandon all that. That is what Kshemaraja is saying, not Varadaraja. Varadaraja is saying, no, you have to further refine. You want to stay that Sukham Hraday Nimajjati doesn't come to you. As for Kshemaraja, that comes to you as a result of your successful Vijavadhanam. It comes to you. He's saying, no, this sutra doesn't say everything has ended. You have to do further serious meditation and you have to do a lot of purification that happens, as a result of which you would be in this state. So he's increasing the load of your sadhana in a way. He's not saying everything is over. He's saying, no, you would be there. But there's a very subtle process of purification. And only when your success, you have that success, you accomplish it, would you ever reach that point where you can immerse yourself in that nectar of blissful consciousness, which is that particular is the root of all creation. Evam tyaktva samadhistah kevalam tanamayi bhavet. Kevalam tanmayi bhavet. Tanamayi. Tanmaya is full of that. That is that Parama Shakti of Parama Shiva. Tanmayi bhavet. Savastha parama prokta. That avastha in meditation is the ultimate state of your meditation, ultimate avastha, ultimate state of your consciousness. Sivasya paramatmanaha is state of whom? Not of you. So a lot of intelligent, counselors and Vedanta and stuff like that, they make it very clear. We can never attain moksha or liberation as an individual. There's a lot of academic debate on it. in Vedanta texts. Is there anything Jivana Mukta? If Ajnana is the cause of the samsara, one person destroys Ajnana, the samsara should come to an end. There should be nothing. So there is Eka Jiva Vada. All of us are only one Jiva, appearing as if we are multiples. Anyone gets liberation, the samsara will come to an end. That is one argument. And then, so you have Vachaspati Mishra and says nobody has got liberation up till now. Now, this creates a bit of discomfort in the minds of other Vedanta experts. They would say, no, no, individual liberation is possible. There is something called Jivana Mukti. And there's a famous book called Jivana Mukti Viveka. Some people say, no, Jivana Mukti is possible, but there would be some Ajnana Lesha. A bit of Ajnana is there. Otherwise, how will they explain disease and death? Thakur Ramakrishna Paramahansa, who is Avatara Purusha, had cancer. He had some apparent suffering, no real suffering, but apparent suffering. How do you explain all that? They will say Ajnana Lesha, because it's like, as I told you, that the sleep is over, the dream is over, you had a nightmare, you are still sweating, you are still having heartbeats, something like that, rapid heartbeats. It persists beyond your end of the dream, beyond the time zone of your dream. The impact remains. Similarly, even after Atmajnana, which is the impact of your prarabdha may persist to show certain things are happening, even though really they don't exist. That is, there are different kinds of explanations. Here, what he's trying to say, Savastha Parama Prokta Shivasya Paramatmana. See, that avastha, when you attain, it's not your avastha. It is Parama Shivasya Parama avastha. You go and dissolve yourself there. As an individual, no liberation. But you have Shiva Vyapti possible. We can dissolve ourselves in that universal consciousness. But remember, there's nothing called individually free, because there's nothing of that sort. You dissolve yourself in the universal consciousness, you no more exist. That universal consciousness only exists. That always existed. Now, we are not being able to elevate ourselves there. And once we elevate, that was always there. And that shall always be there. That's what it is. Savastha Parama Prokta Shivasya Paramatmanaha Niravhasam Padam Tattu Tat Prapya Vinivartate. Niravhasam. There is no avhasa, there is no duality, there is no confusion, there is no delusion. Niravhasam. Padam Tattu, and that particular Padam, Tat Vishnuha Paramam Padam, Tat Prapya, having attained there. No punaravartate, no punaravartate. So, like for example, in Brahma Sutra, also, you don't return. Okay, so so prapyapya binivartate, so you don't come back again. Then you are completely liberated. That is what he's trying to say. Iti 16, that is what he's saying. So you saw that there is a slightly different way in which the Sutra 16 has been explained to my mind. On this particular Sutra, the outcome is being celebrated, is being talked about by Kshemaraja. That is the destination, the benefit of being there. But what are the subtle nuances of sadhana which takes the sadhaka there, rather is more elaborately, beautifully discussed by Varadaraja. Evam vidha yogi saktavalam prapya sambhavapade visrantim labhate iti nirdisati. That is what the last commentary, Siva Sutra, Ranjini, Srimad Acharya Krishnananda Sagar, great commentator. Yes, is one of the most prolific writers, both on Trika Darshana and Vedanta. He has commented on many books. Great scholar. I have to do a bit of research. He's which part of India, whether he's from Bengal or he's from UP. I have to find out, because in that particular time zone, many of the greatest intellectuals actually came from Calcutta. Some of them were from, well, we have to find, or maybe a lot of people from Kashmir. We have to find out from where he was, maybe a South Indian. Evam vida yogi saktavalam prapya sambhavavade vishramtim lavate. So all these Kshemaraja says, because he's going in that sambhavapada, which is there in the first chapter. So he's saying in Arnavapaya, if you go and establish yourself, Vishramtim lavate, end of his journey. Asanastaha sukham hrade nimajjati. Therefore, this particular sutra is mentioning that he goes and relaxes there. He gets, he immerses himself in this particular ocean. Asyate sthiyate yasmin ekatmya bhavena iti asanam. That is asanam, same as Bhattakalata, Saktavalam. So he establishes in that the energy, the power of Lord Shiva to create and dissolve. Yaha tatra tishtati santyakta dhyana dharanadi. Having abandoned all this, having terminated, having accomplished. Samasta kriya parishramaha tadeva antarbhavena yo bimrishyati. Finally, he goes. All these journey, different phases of sadhana he has completed. Sa yatha sukham sahaja bhavena. You have that sahaja bhava. Without any effort, he reaches. Swataha. Sambid annave nimajjati. Introduces another interesting word. I think a couple of other commentators have used it. Sambid annave. That ocean of consciousness. That pure consciousness. Sambid arnave nimajjati. Dehadi sankoja sanskara brodhanena eva tadatmya bhabam prapnoti. This is the end of the journey. We have dehadi tadatmya right now. This is my wife, this is my husband, this is my son, this is my job, this is my country, this is my religion, this is my color, this is my status, all that. So you have Dehatma Buddhi or whatever, Brahmanoham, Kshetriyoham, you have identification that I am this, I am that. Now, once you transcend from there, you are also getting another Tadatmya. That is the ultimate identification. He's saying what? Tadatmya bhavam, Prodhanena, Tadatmya bhavam. So you are now identifying with Paramashiva because you are abandoning all this limited, this whole different, the contours, the aspects, the adjectives that you use to describe your consciousness is only elaboration of our limitations, which are delusional. These limitations are not real. Okay, that is the most interesting part of it. These are delusional, and you would be able to remove all that. Tadatmena prapnoti. So, I was just thinking about it, how to make sense of it. It struck me that actually it's a very interesting thing which we can make sense of if we go to different kinds of conversations which are happening in our society today. So you have a lot of men who are actually biological men, and then in the middle of their life, they attend some, which is happening in a big way in America. So suddenly they declare that we are not men. A lot of people are happily married. Some of them have children, and they declare that we are gay. Similarly, there are a lot of women and they are happily married, or there's some problem in the marriage, and suddenly they come out and they declare that we are gay. Now, most interesting thing, what do you mean by coming out? They were not gay. Either you can say it's acquired, it's like AIDS, so it's a kind of acquired mental frame they are entering into. The other one is they're saying we are wide at birth. We didn't know this, we discovered it. And I was thinking, actually, if you use it to understand Vedanta, it's so much easy. We actually do not realize that we are actually divine. That is what this whole text, Siva Sutras or Advaita Vedanta, they tell us, that your Swarupa is neither gay nor heterosexual nor straight and all that. Swarupataha, you are Amritasya Santana, Amrita Santana Eva. You are pure, you are divine. Now, when you study all this text, you have the conviction to come out. Come out and declare. Your declaration actually makes no sense here, because you say Shivoham, Shivoham, it's not a declaration to the world, it's a declaration to yourself, is actually part of your sadhana. It's a reaffirmation. Once you are there, you don't have to declare anything to anyone. So we actually go and establish ourselves and we get our Swarupa. That is the beauty. A lot of people are coming out. And the text tells that you should also come out and declare yourself that I'm verily divine. You have been confusing me as if I'm a very limited human being, but absolutely I'm not limited. I'm unlimited, I'm cosmic, I'm universal. Trapped, as they say, that I'm a woman trapped in a male body, I'm a man trapped in a woman's body. We are divine trapped in a human body. That is the most interesting aspect of it. Then we go to the next sutra, which is the verse number 17. It's gradually taking us from one step to another. So matra nirmanam apadayati. That is the mantra, sutra number 17. Swamatra nirmanam apadayati. Now, swasya matra, swamatra, nirmanam, he creates. Swamatra, see, because he's already in that very high state, ultimate state of consciousness. Then he opens the eyes, and how does it happen? What he does at the end. That is the beauty of Siva Sutra or the Kashmiri Saivism, or that word, Trika Darshana, vis-a-vis Advaita Darshana, because Advaita Darshana, there is nothing to do. There is nothing to do absolutely. He's there like a madman, like a child, like he's dead. There are different adjectives are given to describe somebody who is a Jivana Mukta. Swasya Chaitanyasya Sambandhini Matra Chid Rasa आस्यानतात्मांश तद्रूपम यथेष्ट वेद्य वेदक अवभासात्मकम निर्माणम आपदायति निर्मितत्वेन दर्शयति. See, this is the most beautiful hour. If you look at any tantra and vedanta, these kind of texts are you can find prolifically written by many in Bengal, because there was a lot of these discussion. He had a very powerful tantric tradition and also Jnana tradition because of these Vedanta and the Vaishnava philosophy and the Brahmos and all that. So they would say you one thing. If you read any uh, commentator or scholar who has written on the spiritual traditions, he will say that, look, there are two groups of people. One group, he goes, even Vivekananda used to explain that he goes, stays in that cosmic consciousness, and he has nothing to do with anywhere, nothing to do with anything. The other one is the tantric. He goes and he comes back to Prakriti. He goes to Purusha but returns. He distributes love. He reconnects with the samsara. That is how they will distinguish between these Vedantists, the Jnana Margis, and the Tantra Margis. Okay? Because the Tantrika returns and connects with the Leela of God. A little similar, not exactly the same. What he's saying, Swasya Chaitanyasya Sambandhini Matra. So, Chid Rasa Asyanata. It's like that bubble or that foam that I was mentioning it. Asyanata is like a consolidation, coagulation. Okay. Now, how do you explain the samsara? What is actually creation? If everything is pure consciousness, what is samsara? Samsara is nothing but this whole unified, universal, pure consciousness splitting itself into Vedya and Vedaka, the observer and the observed. Look at it like this. For reality to be reality, there has to be an observer. There should be some consciousness which is observing it. So that pure consciousness, there is nothing outside of this pure consciousness, as per our school of thought. I'm not talking about physics. Now, the physicist will say that the brain is emerging out of matter. Karl Marx said there is nothing called consciousness, it's matter becoming conscious. The material reality, that is how his school of the whole basis of Marxism is very simple. That you have material situations which produce ideas in you, ideas have no autonomy. In two lines, that is what is Marxist philosophy. And they are basically part of that whole materialist tradition. The matter becomes mind. Mind doesn't have any autonomy. It's the biological frame in which you have a brain, and then that behaves like mind as if it's independent. It's not. That's one school of thought. For them, this whole universe, which is a material whole, splits into parts, and then one aspect of that material cosmic reality manifests itself, emerges as the brain. And then there is the mind, and which observes. Vedya Vadaka, that is Vedya Vedaka Bhava, according to them. The Vedya, what is to be known, one aspect of it becomes the knower, the mind, and then observes the reality. Now, for us, everything is actually Vedaka, everything is pure consciousness. And this pure consciousness has to create the reality, then it is the perceiver. Now, as we looked at it in the previous section, we discussed that the perceiver to be described as a perceiver, there should be a reality to be perceived. For somebody to be described as a knower, there has to be a reality to be known. There has to be some Vishaya, some Vidya. Without Vidya, what is that Vedaka? What is the Betta? What is that Vijnana? What is that Vedana? What is that process of feeling or knowing? All three things are possible and they are all interrelated. This is the beauty of this Trika Darshana. Everything are united. They are not denying reality to this whole samsara. They are affirming the unity of all this at a supreme thing. Then how do you explain diversity? The Srushti Vaichitriya, how do you explain the diversity of this whole reality? The manifest reality. That is what is explaining Sambandhini Matra, Chid Rasa Asyanatatmangsha. That what is that coagulation, that consolidation. Tadrupam Yatheshta. Vedya Vedaka Avabhasatmaka. Vedya and Vedaka are ultimately not real. Abhavhasatmaka, as if there is a duality between the subject and the object. That is how the creation comes. So, in a way, very close to the Advaita Vedanta principle, because ultimately Paramashiva alone is real. All this he has created. How does he create? Through this particular process. Nirmanam apadayati, nirmitatvena darsayati. You see, God is creating this whole sansara. How does he create? He shows it as if these are created. They are not different from Paramashiva. But as if he has created all that, it is appearing like that. This is a metaphorical way to describe that the reality is not independent of, not different from that supreme consciousness called Paramashiva. To me, this is very profound. This is the whole thing is very profound. Like you have the Vivartavada in Advaita Vedanta, here Swatantriyavada, Lord Shiva is showing that is the only difference. Param Brahma in Advaita Vedanta is Nirguna Nirakara, is Samanya. Here it's Visishta, it's ultimate thing. And he's saying this. Okay. Now the elaboration of it, which is very beautiful, we'll expand it and we'll enter into it tomorrow. So I'll stop here because we have coming close to the timeline. Any questions, anyone? Or we'll do the Santi Mantras. Any questions or doubts anyone has? No? Okay. So we'll do the Santi Mantras. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Tatsat. So have a very good Saturday. We'll meet again tomorrow.